Hi everyone, very good morning to one and all. A warm welcome to the next session on basics of Java programming. The previous session we have discussed about features of Java, and then we have discussed variables and data types in Java. So in today's session we will start with the part which was left in data types, and then we will continue with control statements. And I am V. Dinesh Babu from the Department of CSE of Chabrol Engineering College, and I welcome all the listeners of this video. So before going to the today's session, let us refer the things what we have seen in the previous session. This is the first slide what we have seen in the previous session, which shows the features or buzzwords of Java. As I said earlier, you have to say, if somebody asks about what is Java, you have to say Java is an object-oriented, simple, secure, platform-independent, robust, portable, architectural neutral, dynamic, interpreted, high-performance, multi-threaded, distributed programming language. Right? So I explained each and every feature of Java in the previous session. So the people who don't understand the things here, please refer to the previous session. You will have some idea. And then after explaining all these things, we have seen about the variables and data types, right? So in Java, the variables are of three types: local variables, instance variables, and static variables. We have seen all these three types of variables by using an example. I have shown you by using an example. And then we have seen data types. There are two types of data types, not two types of data types. All the data types are divided into two categories: built-in data types and user-defined data types. So the data types which come along with the language are called as built-in data types, and the data types which we create by using certain syntaxes is called as user-defined data types. Right? So here in the last session we ended with this particular slide. Okay, so these are all the primitive data types. Primitive data types in the sense all the built-in data types. They come along with the language, right? So the following are the different data types we have: byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, and boolean. These are the names of the data types what we have in Java. At the same time, the middle column shows the amount of size that will be allocated by the compiler when we define a variable of that particular type. So when we have a byte variable, 8 bytes of size will be allocated. When we have a short variable, 16 bits of size will be allocated. That means 2 bytes. When we have an integer variable, 32 bits of size, that means 4 bytes of size will be allocated. When we have a long variable, 64 bits. And when we have a float variable, 32 bits, we all know that 8 bits equal to 1 byte. Right? For double, Java compiler will allocate 8 bytes of size. That means 64 bits. For character, it will allocate 2 bytes. And for Boolean, there will be only 2 values for Boolean, that is true or false. So I think most of you are very familiar with all the names and all the terminology. We all know int, we all know float, we all know short, we all know byte, double, character, Boolean. We have already studied in C programming language. Right? And on the right side on the third column, it is showing the range of values that can be stored in each and every data type. If we define a variable byte, a variable with a data type byte, so that particular variable can store the values from minus 128 to plus 127. And if we define a variable with short, it can store the values from minus 32,768 to 32,767. So In this way, we have the range of values depends upon the size of allocation for a particular data type, right? So next one, let us move to the non-primitive data types or user-defined data types. As I said earlier, data types in Java programming language are divided into two types, built-in and user-defined. So the other name for built-in data types is primitive data types, and the other name for user-defined data types is non-primitive data types, right? I will show at the, I will show, we have, first I will show one picture and then we can move to the previous slide. So these are the data types in Java. So you can clearly understand by seeing this picture. The data types in Java is completely divided into two types, primitive and non-primitive. So these primitive data types are also called as built-in data types. These primitive data types are also called as built-in data types, and these non-primitive data types are called as user-defined data types. Built-in data types and user-defined data types. So here again, the primitive data types are divided into two types, that is Boolean data types and numeric data types. So Boolean data types, it is having only one data type, that is Boolean data type, right? It can store only two values, either 0 or 1, where 0 represents false and 1 represents true. And again, these numeric data types are divided into character data types, right? Character data types, at the same time integral data types. So numeric data type is divided into character data types and integral data types. So this under character data types only we have one data type, that is char. So under this data type we can store the values of a single character. That character may be a number or a symbol or an alphabet, whatever it may be, it will be treated as a character. And this integral is again divided into two types, and the two types of integral data types are integer and floating point number. And again, this integer is divided into byte, right? Byte, and then short, and then int, and then long. And again, this floating point is divided into float and double. All these are called as primitive data types. All these are called as primitive data types, right? So whereas in the, on the other hand, we have non-primitive data types, right? Non-primitive data types. So these data types cannot come directly along with the language. We have to create by our own. So the non-primitive data types are called as strings, examples, arrays, class. These are the non. These are default data types. Default data types. These data types. We have to create these data types, right? So the entire data types in Java programming language is divided into two types: primitive, non-primitive. So the other name for primitive is built-in data types. You can see here the other name for primitive is built-in data types, and the other name for non-primitive is user-defined data types, right? Under user-defined data types, we have strings, arrays, etc. Under the built-in data types, that is a primitive data types, they are divided into two types, Boolean and numeric. Again, numeric is divided into two types, character and integral. And again, integral is divided into two types, integer and floating point. So under Boolean, we have only one data type, that is Boolean data type. Under character, we have one data type, it is char data type. Under integer, we have four data types, byte, short, int, long. And under floating point, we have two data types, float and double. So for this Boolean, it will allocate only one bit of size, right? For character, JVM allocates 2 bytes of size, right? For byte, it will allocate 1 byte. For short, it will allocate 2 bytes. And for integer, it will allocate 4 bytes. And for long, it will allocate 8 bytes. And for float also, it will allocate 4 bytes. And for double, it will allocate 8 bytes of size. Right? So 1 bit equal to, right? 1 bit equal to, sorry, 1 byte equal to 8 bits. 1 byte equal to 8 bits. That means here, when we say 2 bytes, that means for a character, JVM will allocate 16 bits of size. For byte, it will allocate 8 bits. For short, it will allocate 16 bits. 16 bits. And for int, it will allocate 32 bits. Right, 32 bits. And for long, it will allocate 64. 8 bytes means 8 into 8, 64. And for similarly for float, it will allocate 32 bits of size. And for double, it will allocate 64 bits of size. Right? So these are the things what we have studied in the previous slide. Right? Remember the terminology. Total data types are divided into 2 types, primitive and non-primitive. Primitive means the default data types are the built-in data types. Non-primitive means these are the user-defined data types. Again, this primitive is divided into Boolean and numeric. Numeric is divided into character and integral. Integral is divided into integer and floating point. And these are the bottom line things are the final data types in Java. Boolean, char, byte, short, int, long, float, double. These are all called as primitive data types in Java. And these are the sizes which will be allocated by the JVM when we define a variable with particular data type. Okay. So this is very much, this picture is very much similar to the data types in Java C programming language also. We all are familiar with C language. We have studied in the first sem of our BTech course. So the same picture reflect the data types in C programming language also, right? So the people who already studied this one perfectly, it is very easy to learn and very easy to remember. The only difference is that the allocation of memory size. In C programming language, when we define a variable with integer, in some compilers, 2 bytes of size will be allocated, and in other compilers, 4 bytes of size will be allocated. But in Java, whether it may be in any compiler, it will allocate 4 bytes of size. Okay. Right. So let us move to the previous slide. What we have, before going to the previous slide, let us clear all the drawings what I have drawn here. Right. So let us move to the previous slide here. Right. These are called as non-primitive data types. So the people can understand now what is primitive and what is non-primitive by observing this particular diagram. Okay. So let us move to the next slide. Operators in Java. So we all are familiar with the operators in C programming language. We all are very familiar with the operators in C programming language. We have arithmetic operators, relational operators, bitwise operators, shift operators, unary, ternary. All these are operators in C. Similar to the operators in C programming language, Java also supports 99% of all the operators of C programming language. We have already studied the things in C language. 99% of all the operators are supported by Java programming language also. So let us start discussing briefly, right? So now operators in Java are divided into 8 types. As we look into the picture, these operators are divided into 8 types. Arithmetic operators, right? The first type is arithmetic operators. Next one, logical operators. Next one, third one is unary operators, assignment operators, and then ternary operators. Next one, relational operators, bitwise operators, and the last one is shift operators. So bitwise, one second, we just went to the next slide. Sorry. Right, these are the 8 types of operators that are supported in Java. So let us have a close look at each and every type of operators. What are the different symbols that are present in each and every type of operators, and what is the use of those symbols and how they will work in Java program. Let us have a look at each and everything in detail, right? So the concept is 99% similar to the C programming language. There is nothing added, but a few operators in C are not supported in Java. So let us move to the next slide. So here I think we started with increment or decrement operators, which was not mentioned here. So the increment and decrement operators, comes under unary operators. So the other name for unary operators in Java may be increment or decrement operators. We all know the increment and decrement operators in C programming language. So there will be the increment and decrement operators add an integer variable by 1. For example, if there is a variable a, and inside that a, if we have stored the value 10, and if we used the increment operator, the value will be increased to 11. So let us see in the program. Now let us see the theory part behind this increment or decrement operators. So the increment or decrement or operators are also called as unary operators. Unary. So what this will do, what these operators will do, they will increment the value by 1 or decrement the value by 1, right? So increment operator is defined by using 2 successive plus symbols. So increment operator 2 successive plus symbols. So this is the symbol which is used to define an increment operator. And at the same time, decrement operator is defined by using 2 successive minus symbols. So the things inside the red circle are called as increment operator. The things inside the yellow circle are called as decrement operator. So 2 successive minus symbols will define decrement operator. 2 successive plus symbols will define increment operator. So now let us move to the next slide. So before going to the arithmetic operators, so let us see the operators will work by using an example. Or I'm so let us write this program as INC, right? So here let's define a variable. Let us define a variable here. Int a equal to 10, comma b equal to 20. Int a equal to 10, comma b equal to 20. Now let us print the values of A and B here. Let us print the values of A and B here. A, one second, and print the value of B. We all know we use system.out.println in order to print something on the output screen. So system.out.println B. Now let us increment A++ and let us decrement B. So let us increment the value of A and let us decrement the value of B. So I need to increment the value of A. That's why I have written A++. I need to decrement the value of B. That's why I have written B minus minus. Now let us print something on the screen after increment and decrement. So before increment and decrement, we have printed the values of A and B. Now we are trying to print the values of A and B after increment and decrement. So I have printed the value of A and the value of B. Right? Now save the code with the name inc, because the main method is located in a class called as inc. So save the code with inc.java. Now compile the code. So there are no errors in the code. So it was compiled successfully. Now run the code. So if you run the code, if you observe, initially it has printed the value 10 and then 20. And after increment and decrement, it has printed the values of A and B as 11 and 19. So what happened here is, inside A, we have stored the value of 10, and inside B, we have stored the value of 20. And we printed value of A and the value of B on the output screen by using system.out.println. And then we try to increment the value of A, and then we try to increment the value of B in these two statements. So after increment and decrement, the value of A become 11 and the value of B become 19. So that's why we have it printed 11 and 19 after increment and decrement. Okay, so let us change something here, right? So the things what we have done here are the post increment and post decrement. Post increment and post decrement. There are two things here. Increment can be post or pre. Similarly, decrement can be post to decrement or pre decrement. So for post, we have to provide A++. For pre, we have to provide ++A. Similarly, for post decrement, we have to provide A minus minus, and for pre decrement, we have to provide minus minus A. So the program illustrate the post increment and post decrement. So let us do the same program with pre increment and pre decrement, and let us observe the output here. So in spite of writing A++, let us write ++A and minus minus B and save the code, and then observe the first compile the program. If it is successfully compiled, now run the program. So thus we got the same output. So the main difference between post increment and post decrement is, in post increment, the value will be assigned and then incremented. For example, if we have written A equal to ++A, right, and B equal to minus minus B, that means the value of A will be incremented first, and then it is assigned to A. And if we write A plus plus, the value of A will be assigned first and then it will get incremented. So in post increment, assignment will be done first and then increment will be carried. In pre-increment, increment will be done first and then it will be assigned. So that is the major difference between pre-increment and post-increment, at the same time pre-decrement and post-decrement. Right. I think I have explained this thing in C also in the first sim. Okay. So let us move to our PowerPoint presentation. I request all you to please practice the programs. Right. Let us move to the next type of operators, arithmetic operators. So you all are very familiar with these type of operators. You all are very familiar. So arithmetic operators are divided into 5 types: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and remainder. So these are the 5 types of arithmetic operators: plus, minus, star, which represents multiplication, slash, which represents division, and percentage, which represents modular division, or we can call it as remainder. So let us work with one program on these arithmetic operators. Let us write the program here itself. A equal to 1, B equal to 20, C equal to 30, and then D equal to, oh, not a problem. Let us do the things with A equal to 20, B equal to, sorry, A equal to 10, B equal to 20, and C. We have defined 3 variables here. And with these 3 variables, let us do the program. So let us first use the addition operator, that is plus symbol, and let us print the value of C. So initially we have added the values of A and B, and then we have stored the values of A and B in C. And then let us do subtraction, that is, let us use the minus operator here and print the result here, and then use the star operator, which will multiply